This, oh my gosh. Okay, if you remember any bit of my floor from older videos, this is a huge difference, isn't it? White powder is not cocaine, it's diatomaceous earth, which everybody recommended for Isaac's little minions. Oh, and here is how Isaac keeps costing me money. So, let's see, can we get a good lamp here? No, not really, but okay, so I don't know how visible this is going to look. Actually, quite a bit. So, there's this stain, and it is greasy, and I have no idea. Like, actually, I do have an idea. It's because Isaac never did his own laundry. Again, more diatomaceous earth. I'm at a point where I was planning on reupholstering the couch anyway, and I found a beautiful shade of blue velvet, very close to this one at Joann. Even with one of their 40% off coupons that they, you know, like throw at you all the time, that would be about a minimum of $80 for, I don't know, just taking an estimate for what I would need. And like I said, that's after the 40% off. But then what happens is, I'm probably going to need more than that. This is probably going to cost me a bit, even to do it myself, with, some advice from my friend Joey, who does this, you know, like, professionally, semi-professionally with his dad. But yeah, I'm actually really impressed with the floors. I'm not done vacuuming. I had to move too much around all at once, and so I'm going to pull this out from the wall before we go for the day. Once again, I could not afford to board the cats for the day, so we've got Murnau in his space bubble, and Nigel in his little wheelie thing. See, it's got a handle and wheels. And Phoebe is there. Phoebe, how did you do this? She got the floor part onto the side. She's very clever. Unfortunately, there's only so many places I can put things. The little notice that they gave me and the other tenant, who's got these lovely minions of Isaac's who are being kicked out. There's going to be a third run of spraying down the place. I'm going to call Joey sometime in the next couple of weeks after I take some measurements, and we can see what he and I can do with this. Obviously, I would buy the velvet and anything we would need to stuff it with, and I'll see if he can give me a reduced rate if I help him out, so. Did you ever Harry? This is Rowan again. Is Rowan dumb? I believe. I don't know. I'll check later. So, Exterminator still isn't here. I'm getting a little annoyed by this. Granted, he showed up at noon 2 weeks ago, this past Wednesday, and it's not even 11 yet. It's around 11:40, 11:45 by my watch. I set my analog clocks fast so that I'm not late for the bus. That's why I'm not so certain on the time. So, I noticed while I was getting some shit picked up last night that at around midnight Eastern US time, YouTube decided to disable live streams from mobile devices. So from my phone, which is what I'm doing, for people with an audience of under 1,000 subscribers. So that means my most consistent schedule, which is Wednesdays, live streaming that is on hiatus until I get, let's see, last I looked, I was 14 subscribers short for getting that done. So, that's nice, I suppose. I think I'll make up for it until I have that 14 more subscribers minimum. I think I'll make up for it by just doing other little videos on Wednesday. You know, if all else fails, I'll just upload whatever the hell I was planning for the week on a Wednesday until I make that other 14 subscribers. I am making a little, like, I don't know, it's sort of a wishy-washy plea. I'm not into doing this normally because, you know, I believe in the quality of my audience over the quantity of my audience. I'm really not at all obsessed with having a subscriber count, but 1,000 would be nice. So if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the stupid little videos I do, you know, please urge them to check me out, and hopefully they will subscribe. That would be nice. Also, at 1,000, I should be able to breach the minimum needed for monetization, which, on the good side, most of my videos are, even if just barely long enough to, you know, control where ads are placed. I don't know, I'm not sure, like, what I'd do with all of that, or if I'd just let it go to default, because, granted, I don't have the biggest issue with seeing ads on the monetized channels that I do watch, because, it's something with the Roku. When I'm watching from my computer, which is just barely functional right now, hate that, but that's another story for another time. So I've noticed when I'm watching from my Roku, I get maybe half the advertisements that I do when I'm either watching from my phone or watching from my computer, and so that's nifty. I don't know if that affects people's monetization, but it does affect my own sanity points for crap and stuff. So the cats and I are just waiting for the what's he called, the Exterminator come back. He is doing a third spray, which has been scheduled, or, you know, it's tentatively scheduled for another 2 weeks from today. So the cats are going to be upset with me for a bit more. I was actually, like, really kind of impressed with myself. Yes, there's a whole lot of stuff still on the coffee table. I need to sort through a lot of that, but this is honestly the best I could do right now. I'm actually, like, really impressed with my ability to turn up the couch on my own so that the guy can actually spray inside the couch. That would be nice if he could do that. I still have to put cling film over the top of the aquarium. I still need to get a snail for the aquarium, but that'll happen when it happens. And big thanks to the people who have donated toward this. I got a number on how much this actually costs. I was a little bit off on the cost, so I have upped the GoFundMe for it. So if you can toss a few dollars in that direction, that would be lovely. What else? I'm also thinking, with some of the gift monies that I did get, I'm thinking I was not able to this week, but I'm thinking when I get the notice for when he's coming back in another couple weeks, I will, I should use some of that to try and board the cats for the day. Ideally, I'd like to do it just for the day, rather than you know, overnight, but if it's some kind of deal where I have to bring them over, you know, the night before, I mean, I'm not going to be happy with it. They're not going to be happy with it. Just because, I mean, they're not going to be happy with it for the obvious reasons, that I'm putting them in carriers to take them someplace overnight and all of that, but I'm not going to be happy with it if that has to be the way to go. Actually, if that has to be the way to go, I'd rather... I think they'd be a little less stressed if I just brought them with me, if that would be the only option, would be to bring them overnight, you know, or bring them early in the day and leave them overnight or something, depending on when the Exterminator's done. I think it would just be less stressful on them to bring them around with me again. I know they're not happy with it, but I'm there for them, and Phoebe was in foster for so long. She was in foster for so long. I would hate to have her think that I'm abandoning her, even if just overnight, and I come back the next morning and pick them up. Like, I don't know, I would just hate for her to think that I've just abandoned them at this place. That's strange to them, and definitely, you know, is not going to be the most pleasant experience because there are all these other stressed out animals there. I mean, I know that boarding kennels exist for, you know, situations where you can't bring your animals with you, but I don't know, I think it would just overall be a little less stressful on them to bring them around with me, because I'm there with them, and they know that I'm not leaving them, and yeah, that's basically it, really. You know, that I'd be there with them. They would see that I am not leaving them, you know, for any reason. That, you know, I will always be there with them, because, you know, they're my sweeties. They're my little sweet babies. And Murnau is... oh, he's gonna knock over his space bubble again. I love that carrier, but the zipper on it busted. The zipper on it busted, so, like, so it's one of those double zippers, and one side just sprang right off. So, thankfully the other one stayed on there, so I'm gonna need to replace the zipper on that sometime between now and, well, later tonight and 2 weeks from now. I might take them to Joanne with me, to find a new zipper. Like I said, they're not gonna be happy with me today. You know, in no small part because Jessica at Ideal Piercing, sorry, selfie stick, she did not seem to understand what busking entailed, and Josh does not, well, in part because it was raining 2 weeks ago, so I really didn't have my accordion out, because it's hard to hold the umbrella and have the, you know, and play the accordion at the same time. So, yeah, he did not see, plus it just seems like he does not see the strongest distinction between busking and panhandling, and I'm like, no, I'm here to be busking. If the rain lets up, I will be playing, you know, music, so, but yeah, it didn't really stop raining, at least not significantly, so yeah, I'll see about camping out around State and Liberty for however long. So yeah, they're probably gonna come out to Joanne with me. I need a new conditioner bar from Lush, so they might come to the mall with me. It might be a day or two before I absolutely need to replace that, but, it broke in half. It broke in half, so I'm using like a small one at a time, and I actually have not gotten in the shower yet today because I don't know when this guy's coming. They give you a span of time for the day, and they say, oh, well, it's like the cable guy. I'm like, oh, well, that's useful. So, yeah, the cats aren't happy. I'm not incredibly happy, but I've got the apartment as picked up as I can do on my own, so... so it is almost 4 in the afternoon, and the Exterminator has 1 more hour to get here, and he hasn't been here yet, and the cats are so bothered right now, and I'm gonna call the apartment management and tell them that, you know, if he's not here by 5, I have to let my cats out. They've been boxed into their carriers since 9 a.m. This isn't right. I shouldn't be doing this to them, but it's, I mean, I have to. I have no other options right now. I can't let them loose until he gets here, because that would be time that he can't, you know, spray and so I just got off the phone with the apartment management. They're gonna call up the Exterminator's line and see what kind of estimated time of arrival he's got, because, I mean, Hope even said that that usually he's been here by now, and the other tenant has called and made the you know, file the same grievance I have, that he's not here yet, and he really, like, he would have been here and out already by now. And of course, it's the day I'm prepared. I'm prepared, like, far above and beyond, like, I mean, I tipped over my couch for this, and he's not here, and the cats have been boxed in since 9 a.m., and that's not good for them. They're so angry right now. I mean, Nigel's actually pretty chill about this whole thing, because he knows that, you know, this is going to happen, and then we're going to come back, and that I'm going to let him back out. But Phoebe's been in foster. She was in foster for about 2 years before I adopted her, and I'm just, I hate stressing her out like this. I really do. I know she hates the chaos and everything, but she's so upset, and I want to make it better, but there's really no other option right now. I can't just make it better. I can't make it better for them. I wish I could. I'm looking over at my cats. They're kind of upset. I mean, Murnau's chilled out finally. He's noticed that he can put his chin up in the space bubble and, you know, look around and all of that. And I've put all their carriers together so that they can all see each other and all of that, and know that they're all safe and everything. And I gave Phoebe a warm blanket that was fresh out of the I did a couple dry clean loads while I was waiting for the guy. So yeah, a couple hours ago I did a couple dry clean loads, like one in each dryer. Nobody else was using any of the washers either, so I figured it's not, like, you know, being a jackass if I were to do it like that. So so what was I saying? I was saying that so yeah, I gave a couple blankets a dry clean load, and as well as a couple of the cushions that went on the couch and everything, and the cushion that went in the cat's basket here. And so, you know, I did a couple dry clean loads, and I gave Phoebe one of the blankets from in there when it was still all warm and toasty, and she seemed okay with that for like a minute, and then she started panicking again. So I don't know, I offered her some catnip. She wasn't interested, so she was pretty stressed, but she's, I don't know, she's, I hesitate to say that she's calmed down. She's more tired herself out, I suppose, is the way you'd put it, because, you know, the way that she was all, like, panicking and everything about being in the carrier for so long. She was clearly, I would not call a person that's been subjected to something like that calmed down. I would say that they've tired themselves out, and I mean, and of course I've taken them, you know, individually to the bathroom, because there's the pocket door that slides in and out, and so like I can slide it closed, and they can use the box if they want to, and you know, because there's the litter box, and there's the toilet, and then there's the bathtub with the shower, and then there's the pocket door on the other side of the litter box. And then on the other side of the pocket door is the sink with the vanity counter. So I've taken them individually to see if they need to use the litter box, and if they do, they do. If they don't, they go right back into the carrier. So, but they're all a bit upset with me, so yeah, he's got a little over 50 more minutes. After that, I have to call the apartment manager and let her know that I can't keep my cats boxed in like they are, you know, any much longer, because yeah, at this point it's just cruel. But like I said, I've got no other options. I really don't. I wish I had other options. Even boarding, I'm not sure how great that would be. Like, even if I could have afforded to board them today, I don't know how good that would have been on Phoebe mentally. Like, Nigel's pretty chill about this all. He really is. Like, a lot more than I expected him to be, honestly. I think it's because it's the third week in a row he's ended up in the carrier, and he knows that, you know, hey, we're going to be in the carrier for however long, and then we come home, and then we get back out. And so, yeah, I think it's just, like, the repeated trips into the carrier this last few weeks has, you know, got Nigel... Yeah, he's not happy, but he understands that it's a temporary situation. Murnau is not quite as chill as Nigel is right now, but he does seem to pick up on that a lot sooner than Phoebe does. Phoebe, on the other hand, has alternated between being panicky and being very, very tired and exhausted from the panicking, and I really want to do something to help her with that, but I mean, there's nothing really I can do. I've offered treats, I've given her a blanket, I've offered catnip. You know, when we go on the bathroom trips, you know, just to see if she's got to go, you know, I will hold and cuddle her, but, you know, then I start thinking, okay, well, if the guy, you know, comes here, like, right now, I mean, I'm going to have to, you know, I'm going to have to rush to get her back in the carrier, and I don't know, it's just, it's so aggravating right now, and, you know, it's not just me who's being aggravated by this, like, I mean, I've got my cats. I love them so much, and I hate seeing them so annoyed by this. And like I said, you know, Nigel is mostly fine. He seems to understand that this is a temporary situation, and, you know, then we're going to go out for however many hours, and we're going to come back home, and he's going to be out of the carrier, and I'm not going to leave him. He knows this. He better know this. Murnau is almost, you know, to where Nigel is. He's between Nigel and Phoebe as far as, you know, how chill he is. He's somewhere between Nigel and Phoebe. He's not the happiest, but he's much closer to Nigel than he is to Phoebe at this point, because he's like, okay, well, we're going to be in here, and we're going to go out, and then we're going to come back, right? Right, okay, well, if Nigel says we're going to come back, then we're probably going to come back, because Nigel's done this longer than any of us, but now, actually, like, Phoebe has gotten in carriers and everything, and had to go places, and to adoption events and everything, and like I said, she was in foster for about 2 years. The average in Michigan where where rescue cats will be in foster tends to be around 6 months for an adult cat. That's about average. 6 months, sometimes 9, depending on the county. But it does seem that, you know, and she was in foster more than double that, more than, like, if we're guessing low end, more than 3 times as long. Wait, no, 4 times as long. You know, she was in foster longer than most other cats, and it's got nothing to do with her. She's a very friendly, very warm, very charming, very sweet cat. Just like it said on her little personality profile that they write up and print out on all the cats at the little Petco adoption events. And, yeah, they've got no reason to lie about that, because they lie about, you know, the fosters lie about that, then, you know, then the adopter is annoyed and angry, like, oh, hey, you said this was a nice cat, but, you know, all she does is attack ankles. It's not something like that. No, Phoebe's a very sweet, gentle cat. She just doesn't deal well with chaotic situations, and it also seems that she doesn't travel very well, and it's probably in part because of, you know, like, how long she was in foster. You know, she'd go and travel, and she'd go to this chaotic situation where there's people being loud, and children, and dogs at the Petco, you know, like, yelping their fool heads off and everything, and, you know, and she just doesn't like chaotic situations. And I've learned this living with Phoebe, that at home she is very sweet, very loving, very friendly with all of my friends and everybody who's met her, like a couple of the neighbors who've met her. You know, she's not quite as gregarious and charming as Murnau is at this point, but, you know, before Murnau was around, she was definitely up there with... She's definitely one of the friendlier cats I've ever lived with, though. She's, but yeah, Murnau is just, like, all personality and all in your face with it too, so that's kind of adorable. But yeah, like I said, at home she's very sweet, very lovey, very gentle, very nice. She's a very nice cat, but she was in foster for so long because she doesn't deal well with chaotic situations like the adoption events. So she would just kind of, like, huddle up into her little litter box that they put in there with her little paws all pursed up. And that's how I first saw her, was, you know, she wasn't acting unfriendly, which, you know, her old foster Lynn said that a lot of people assumed she wasn't a friendly cat. And I'm like, no, she's... Well, first, and I say to Lynn, well, first off, what you know, what would you get out of lying about it on her little personality profile thing on the clip to the kennel? And secondly, like, you know, she's not acting, you know, especially gregarious with the people at the adoption event because she's clearly stressed out by all the chaos. And yeah, then Lynn offered to knock $10 off the adoption fee, and I still couldn't justify that. And then a friend of mine who's involved in the New Orleans voodoo community, he and his husband got a decent windfall with selling some arts, and Billy he knew he should do something good for an animal with some of that money, so he offered me, you know, like $50 toward the adoption fee. And so, of course, at that point, it's like, well, you know, Voodoo's telling me to adopt this cat, so I gotta do that then. So yeah, yeah, and she's just been such a dear, sweet cat. But like I said, right now, like, my option is to keep them in the carrier until it's, you know, until this day is over, until this ordeal is over for them, which could be As late as... Oh, shit, no, because I have to be out for 4 hours, and then come back in, open the windows and the door to the balcony, and then be out for another 90 minutes, so thereabouts. The Exterminator 2 weeks ago said an hour to 90 minutes, but the little printout that they give us for the building manager, she gave us something printed out that said 90 minutes to 2 hours. So, yeah, so let's see. Assuming he comes, like, right at 5, that's 4 hours I gotta be out, so, before I can open the windows and the doors, and then another, so that would be 9 p.m., and then another, hour and a half, so we're looking at 10:30, we're looking at almost 11 o'clock before the cats would be able to be back in, and that's, at that point, they've been in their carriers more than half the day. That's not good for them. But I don't really have any other options, do I? DG Vicari. This is Ron again, and, so the Exterminator was about, well, he was still technically within his window of time for arrival, which was, as it said on the letter on the door, between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. He showed up at 4:30, and, you know, when it got closer to 4, like when it just passed 4, I called, building manager, and she said that usually he's no later than like 1:30 to the buildings out in Ipsy that he gets called to, at least with their buildings anyway. So he was absurdly late for his usual routine. So it is. Is it really that late? Of course, it's not going to let me see the thing. Okay, so it's about 9:30. We've got 45 minutes before I can let the cats back in. I did come home, and I'm letting and I opened up the windows, and so the unit is airing out, and I did that around 8:45, and minimum is 9:30, so the cats have, 90 minutes, minimum 90 minutes before letting the cats back in, after opening up the windows and the door to the balcony and all of that. So I'm gonna go with the minimum, just because the cats have been in their carriers since 9 a.m. It is now over 12 hours they've been in their carriers. They're not happy with me, they're not happy with life, and I'm going to insert some pictures of the cats from earlier today downtown. We just hung out on Main Street and, you know, just like did some people watching. I'm going to insert some pictures here. And Nigel was the most entertaining people watcher today. He was just, can we see? Not very well. We see eyeballs. We see eyeballs. So yeah, Nigel, at some point, he's a bit more chill about the carrier than the other two are. Phoebe was in foster for about 2 years before I adopted her. Can we see? Can we see Miss Phoebe? That's pretty black. But yeah, Phoebe was in foster for about 2 years when I adopted her, and so this meant, like, almost every other week for 2 years, so she was being put in a carrier and taken to adoption events where things are chaotic, and there's dogs barking, and there's children, you know, like, sticking in their sticky little fingers, and all of that. And you know, and she just she just kind of just over stresses in chaotic situations. But today she was actually mostly okay for her. I'm sure if Murnau was acting like that, was acting like her, like she was today, I would think Murnau was being extra stressed out. Heck, if Nigel was acting, you know, like even half of how Phoebe was today, I would think that Nigel was being extra stressed out. But no, she was mostly okay. At some point, you know, she just I was saying to my friend Angela that on the occasions when I've had to take well, not really had to, but on the occasions when I've taken the cats out busking with me, it is not uncommon for me to just have a cat pile on my lap while I'm trying to play music. And that cat pile is often Phoebe, just because that way the sign, you know, that, you know, like, disabled musician, Kitty needs special diet, because she does need the special diet. She has to be grain-free or she will fart all day long, and cat farts are toxic. But yeah, she was mostly okay. She was just kind of like cuddled up next to me. At some point, Murnau, because I put the harness and leads on them all, and held onto the loop on their leads, so like if they wanted to, they could stepped outside the carrier and roamed about, or at least as far as the lead will let them go. Murnau, at some point, it was adorable. You've probably seen in the picture, he decided to cuddle with Phoebe for a couple minutes, and then I heard her make this kind of like a low growl, and so then he just like jumped down and cuddled up by my feet, because it's clear Phoebe was getting annoyed at that. But it was so cute. He thought he could comfort her somehow. Or maybe he just wanted to suck up some warm, because it was a little bit breezy today. I kept thinking it was going to rain, and it's good that it didn't, but what you gonna do, right? So, yeah. Oh, goody. We're up to about 40 minutes before I can let the cats back in. Oh, no, 35 by my watch. Something like that. I don't know. So it's probably closer to 40. Do I want to go by my watch? I forget which watch I was going by when I came in to open up the door, to open up the windows. Ugh. Catnip. Phoebe and Murnau. Nigel, look at all of this. Look at all of this. Kitty cat. Hi. Yes, oh, Phoebe. Does Phoebe forgive me? Maybe. Phoebe. Phoebe. You silly girl. Baby. It's okay. I know you forgive me. Look at this. She's all splayed out like a, I don't know, like, some kind of Victorian woman in an opium den on a fainting couch, just rubbing her face all up in it. You cute. You pretty lady.